There is a bill being proposed that would ban corn in the United States.
As it should, right?
And this is dangerous for women.
Please talk more.
Now, bear with me because I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive. I think a lot of people believe that banning corn might actually be a good thing. It's doing a lot of detriment to young people and really warping their minds and their concepts of consent and normal, healthy sexuality. First of all, a lot of women are going to be out of work.
Wow. A lot of women are going to be out of work because they can't do OF anymore. They can't do Pornhub anymore. They can't sell themselves anymore. Wow. Just wow. And that's the problem? To be honest, it should have been banned a long time ago, if you ask me. I mean, it was a topic on here. Somebody said she can't feel it when men give her brain, right? When they give her head, right? And it's because she uses her Rose toy too much. Women and men, but women are gooning too. It's not just men that are just corn addicts. Bro, it's unhealthy. And people complain about how they're in their 20s and they have erectile dysfunction. They can't get hard. Women are sitting here, a man can't make me come. Right? And it's like, you're a goner. You're addicted. It's equivalent to doing drugs. Stop. It needs to be banned. And y'all are worried about female employment? Women having employment?
Like so many other things this administration has done and continues to do, this is ultimately going to be about controlling women.
Stopping.
Shalom, shalom. First thing first, I want to give all praises, glory, honor, and power that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashim Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles at Great Millstone. Those who rule well and who I learned this truth from. And salutation to the brothers stiffly pushing this one truth. All right, shalom to the rest of the elect as we all await the second Exodus coming quickly by the hands of Lord Yahweh Shai. This is your brother Kakabar, all right? And, there's a Republican senator, all right, proposing to pass a bill that would pretty much make pornography a federal crime, all right? And you seen that video I just played. That woman's whole point of contention with this bill would be what? That a lot of these hoes, these sex workers, quote unquote content creators, these OnlyFans bitches, they ass will be out of work. Cause ultimately, come to find out, this is a tenet of Project 2025. All right, this is a tenet, all right, of Project 2025, man. You know, they want to look to cut back on all of this obscenity, you know, because, you know, we live in a fucking completely immoral ass society, you know, to where you can't walk out your house without seeing some type of hypersexualization going on, man, or some type of over sexualization taking place. You know, ultimately, if they get rid of it, shit good, man. You know, we all battle with the lust and whatnot at the end of the day, but yeah, this shit does way more harm than good. You know, because what they normally talk about is how it affects men, you know, with erectile dysfunction and, you know, social anxiety. And, you know, it's what it does is it affects both fucking parties, man. Because now that mental to physical connection ain't there. You know, your dopamine receptors are fried, okay? All right, and it's ultimately we understand how detrimental it is, man, which that's really not even, you know, what I'm focusing on in this lesson, because I went into that before. But the fact that ultimately, man, this would fuck a lot of you hoes up, because a lot of you females think you could just resort to selling yourself, which is what a lot of women are doing nowadays, man. If you ain't been paying attention, because the prices of everything is going up. And it's harder to maintain their livelihoods. A lot of bitches is just selling themselves. But they do these things thinking that they're going to be like the top 1%. You know, your fucking, your Mia Khalifa's out there. You know, the Bonnie Blues, the, what's that little bitch? She made like 40 million in a year off of OnlyFans. Sophie Rain, I think that's her name. You know, a lot of you hoes thinking you gonna have that same luck, but in reality, man, hey, only like the top 1% of bitches is making that type of bread off of this shit, man. See, so if they actually do pass this bill, guess what? That's gonna put a lot of you hoes out of work, man. Okay, you know, people gonna have to start looking to do shit underground and whatnot, because this would really open the doors to them. This would open the doors to them furthermore, cutting away at your freedom of speech, freedom of expression, you know, because it may start out one way, but then it's going to lead to everything else. Because all the movies, the shows, you know, all of it is completely graphic, you know, and really it's, like I said, it's a part of that Project 2025, which I had that pulled up, matter of fact. You know, I just typed in, does this hint at Project 2025? And it says yes. And this is on ChatGPT. But it says, yes, Project 2025 does hint at efforts that could lead to significant restrictions on corn. Though it doesn't explicitly call for an outright ban in most of its publicly available documentation. However, many of its policy positions suggest a broader moral and cultural agenda that could severely impact adult content and sex work if implemented. So, in other words, read between the lines, man. Okay, and then it breaks it down. Project 2025 is a policy blueprint created by the Heritage Foundation and other conservative organizations. It aims to guide the next Republican administration, which we have it here, that we have that Republican administration now. And a lot of the things they're doing is lining perfectly up with Project 2025, you know? So, yeah, it says, and I find it funny because that bitch in the video made it like this was, oh, you're gonna target women. That's what y'all do, man. Y'all think all of this shit is just directed towards you women, man. Everything that get passed and put in the legislation is just automatically coming toward after you, which, hey, in a roundabout way, this is, but ultimately, this would affect a lot of people, man. You know, okay, they're trying to ultimately, quote unquote, retain conservative values, which you people aren't real Christians, anyways, man. You know, but that's the selling point. You know, so a lot of you females that do take to these OnlyFans and these content creating sites where you selling foot pics and playing with yourself and shit on camera, hey, that could all be coming to an end. Which really, even if this bill don't get passed, it's going to come to an end regardless, man, because society is collapsing, man. You know, we're about to face an economic collapse to where you won't be able to do that shit regardless. You see what I'm saying? But it's just to the point to where now legislation is being spoken about, putting that into effect. See? You see that? Yeah. Because, you know, a lot of these hoes, you know, they got their main job, then they serve on the side, they may bartend, and then at the end of the day, they got to hop on these apps and sell foot pics and shit to you simple ass niggas out there, man. Yeah, man, and like I said, it's a hypersexualized society anyways, man. It's to the point to where, like I said, there's a lack of creativity in that sense, man. There's a lack of imagination. You know, these hoes, the shit they wear outside nowadays, it don't leave nothing up to the imagination, man. So it's like, what's the point in getting this chick where you think she's gonna be all exclusive to you, and the next thing you know, it's a fucking Friday, Saturday late night, she outside dressed like it's fucking Halloween, man. You know, you out there dressed with a Chun-Li skirt on, man. You know, she got you see what I'm saying, ponytails, and she got, you see. So really, like I said, if they do it good, man, because you know, a lot of people will suffer from that. You know, a lot of people will suffer behind that shit, which, again, I'm not about to dive into the whole, you know, we understand that, like I said, you know, a lot of people run to that because of X, Y, and Z, but really it's something you should really try to avoid at all costs anyways, man. Both men and women, it's ultimately detrimental to you, because a lot of women, which they don't even speak on, but like he kind of said in his video, you know, y'all got them little rose toys, y'all got them dildos, to where you really become desensitized to the real thing, man. Okay, overindulgence in anything is bad. Okay, that's one thing that's not spoken on, is that this type of shit, you know, that women's empowerment, you know, women's liberation, being able to ride the cock carousel, they don't speak about how detrimental that has been to women, man. You know, not only do you retain the DNA of the partners you sleep with as a woman, okay, but you also, you know, your body don't operate as it's supposed to, man. That's why you may hook up with several bitches, you know, and it might, you know, they box, you know what I'm saying? It'll be hidden for what it should be. It'll be tight. It'll be whatever it's supposed to be. And you run into this bitch, you know, and you start hearing about her past. You know, she's a stripper. You know, she's done certain things. And you're like, oh shit. And you next thing you know with her shit is loose as hell, man. But you gotta understand the reason why, because these hoes have a lot of these emotionless hookups, man. You know, to where they rush the process. They don't even get their body time to get wet, to self-lubricate, to operate as it's designed to. And doing that shit over and over, man, that'll fuck you up. Then they wonder why their pelvic muscles be so weak, you know, and they can't get off as they're designed to, because you've been ran through. You know what I'm saying, you an OnlyFans worker, you a stripper, you do this different types of work. Well, you've desensitized your body, man, to the natural natural intercourse. I'm gonna just put it like that. You see, women love that anticipation, that build up. Well, if you just you getting ran through 10 niggas in a night, you know, you on some Bonnie Blue type shit, you getting 100 niggas to run through you, you lost that. You see, you've lost that, because you didn't even give your body time to do what it's supposed to do. You know, you just getting ride, putting you after ride, you know, and then there's no real connection behind it. So that mind-body connection ain't even there. See, you know, a lot of these bitches be on these OnlyFans, on these corn sites, all right, fake moaning and shit, faking the interaction, you know, to where you try to do the real thing, you try to get into the real thing, and you can't even get off properly. Now you got all these weird ass fetishes, you know, you got to do all this weird shit to get off, because you've desensitized yourself, man, you know, all right. But I just briefly wanted to mention that, because like I said, that shit is detrimental to both parties, man. See, so, you know, where we live in a day and age where they tax you for water, you know, they tax you for everything, and you think that corn being free is yeah, man, you gotta just ask questions, man, you know. But yeah, Republican senator introduces bill to make this shit a federal crime. Senator Mike Lee of Utah seeks to stop the production and dissemination of pornographic material and to empower prosecutors to act against it by redefining the notion of obscenity for the internet era. You know, I mean, it's like, it's really too late for that shit, man. I mean, if you've seen how far these shows and movies have progressed, you know, they got nudity is just everywhere. It's like, at this point, you can't even fucking avoid it, man. You know? It says, if passed, the bill would make it easier to prosecute obscene content shared across state lines or from other countries, and could lead to federal limits or bans on online porn. It's going to put a lot of you hoes out of business, quite honestly. And it's going to leave a lot of sexually deprived, deranged, weird-ass niggas and, you know, men out here roaming these streets, man. You know? It says it would also expand what counts as a federal crime, possibly making a lot of adult content, even if it's consensual, illegal. Which really, you shouldn't even be looking at on the nakedness of a couple or whatever anyways, man. You know, looking on the nakedness of someone else in that manner anyways, man. Which again, hey, we've all watched this shit before, man. You know, we've all watched it, we've all done that. But it's just so to the point to where, you know, this society has become, it's completely immoral, and it's out of balance, man. So you know, really this would be the Heavenly Father just setting this place up for the the complete collapse. All right, but it says the Congresswoman added that she and Lee see it as their mission to safeguard American families and ensure this dangerous material is kept out of our homes, off our screens. It says, and that's pretty much the point. All right, that's pretty much the point. All right, now I'm saying it's gonna pass. You know, we know how they do with these proposed bills, but it's just the point that this vibration is even out there, because this is a part of Project 2025. You know, and this will leave a lot of you fucking hoes scrambling. But it says, restoring moral order, which I kind of briefly touched on that. Empowering the DOJ to enforce obscenity laws, which will target adult websites, creators. See, pressuring platforms to deplatform adult content. So there goes your fucking OnlyFans. And you never know, this place may get hit with a fucking cyber attack before this could even go into effect, man. But it's just the point that, nonetheless, man, we about to enter into them times to where this ease of life and, you know, this and that is all this shit's about to go out the fucking window for a lot of you people. Okay, undermining legal protections for sex work and alphabet content. You know, so this is the reason why that woman was feeling like, oh, I was just targeting women, because, you know, anything that speaks about the alphabet community ultimately goes into minorities, which
There is
women, all right, largely how do I want to say that? You know, they're attached with that, you know. All right. But that's pretty much the point. Because it would ultimately just tighten their grip on the people anyways, and further restricting certain things and freedoms of speech and, you know, X, Y, and Z. All right, because this is all to set up that totalitarian society where they control everything, you know, ain't no freedom or nothing. All right, but you know, that's pretty much been the point. Okay, that's pretty much the point on that. I'm gonna go ahead and close out. I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, Bashim Kakadash, DTA Wah Baba Ball, Shalom.